basis so that way people can't flee the state?
Well, first of all, that requires the United States Congress and the President of the United States. And I think anybody who thinks this is going to happen in the near future just isn't paying attention. What we're capable of doing here in California is fixing a problem that we have the resources to fix. And I would say to you, you're exactly right, Alex, that 1% pays a very large amount of taxes. The billionaires are not 1%. The billionaires are 0.00001%. And the billionaires today, 250 individuals in California, have as much wealth as the aggregate income of over 39 million other Californians. The system is off the rails, and we need to correct that.
But they pay among the highest tax rates of anywhere in the country already in this state. And John Ziegler, who was on with us a few minutes ago here, described what you're doing as theft. Here's his argument.
This is stealing. This is legalized stealing from people who have already paid taxes on their unrealized gains on an arbitrary threshold of $1 billion. This is as un-American as it gets, claiming to be a one-time deal. I would ask anyone who has ever found a spouse cheating, who said it was only one time, whether or not they really believe that. Because that's what you're being asked to believe. This will only happen one time, and that threshold will never get lowered. If you believe that, you will buy anything. But this is a sham. This is a farce. This is theft.
Your response?
Well, I mean, Mr. Ziegler was kind of wound up. And in addition to being unhinged, every single thing he claimed is just wrong. I do think it's important that people understand, as Warren Buffett himself has said many times, billionaires pay lower effective tax rates than you and I do. And it's not close. That's the real scandal. Teachers, firefighters, healthcare workers, journalists, we're paying far more than billionaires are, and the wealth they have can be shielded from our tax system and handed down to their heirs completely tax-free. The real scandal and the real issue here is, for the first time in this country, we're having a debate about how lopsided our system is, and that's why I think folks like Mr. Ziegler are sort of losing their cool.
Well, and it's going to get a tremendous amount of national attention, because you could be doing something similar in other states if it passes here. Folks like Sergey Brin, the co-founder of Google, already spent $100 million against this. He could pay $13 billion if this thing passes, which is why $100 million is pretty small in comparison to that. This could be the most expensive fight in the history of California, and it obviously has a much larger thing. As we know, sometimes what starts in California goes to the rest of the country. As Gavin Newsom says, our nation's coming attractions. Dave Regan, thank you so much for coming and sharing your views. We appreciate it. ICE plans to introduce a new technology to help its officers overpower people who are not compliant. That story and more when we come back. Dolores Huerta, legendary civil rights leader, joins us live. Organizers of a new exhibit at the California Museum in Sacramento say that history often repeats itself. And the idea of mass deportations is nothing new. Their brand new exhibit is called Help Wanted, Leave Now. It tells the story of the largest mass deportation in U.S. history, which was authorized by then-President Dwight D. Eisenhower back in 1954. More than 1 million people are estimated to have been swept up in that military-style campaign. Joining me live to discuss that and more is Dolores Huerta. She co-founded the United Farm Workers. She's one of the best-known and most influential Latino leaders in U.S. history. And she inspired Barack Obama's Yes We Can with her Spanish version, Si Se Puede. Dolores, it's an honor to welcome you to The Story Is.
Thank you very much for having me.
You just attended the opening night reception this evening in Sacramento to this new museum exhibit. We just showed you some of the pictures that are featured in this exhibit. What is the major lesson from it, and why is it so irrelevant to an audience in 2026?
Well, because in the United States of America, we went to Mexico during World War II, and we asked them to send people here to work in the fields, to work in the industry, because our people had gone off to war. We had to support the war machine, and our military, and these are the people who were out there in the farm worker fields, picking up produce and feeding the nation. And then, of course, this program went on for almost 20 years. It started in 1943. It didn't end until 1963. Many of these workers were exploited. They were not treated right during the time that they were working here. And then, of course, came a time when they wanted to get rid of them, so they started deporting them in mass.
Which is the idea of we need your help until we don't need your help, and you're out.
Exactly.
And do you see echoes of that now?
Well, we know that workers were not treated very well. Their working conditions were miserable. They were never given adequate food. They were never getting adequate housing. Many people became very wealthy because our U.S. government gave every employer $1.75 a day for each worker. And so oftentimes they had more workers than they had work for them. And so after the program ended in 1963, our government actually legalized some of the express-ceros. But what we see now is the level of cruelty that is now being delivered to our undocumented people is something that was not seen at that time. People were repatriated, they were deported to their home, but they were not put in detention centers, they were not put in prison of what we are seeing today.
There's a headline from CNN just out today. ICE plans to spend $20 million on electrical shock gloves for agents. What do you make of ICE planning to outfit officers with electric shock gloves? They say this will actually help to de-escalate situations, and they say when people are here illegally, we need to get them out of the country.
No, that is not the way to treat human beings, and this is torture. You're hurting people when you're all of these methods that they're using right now, and we don't need to treat people like that, because the people that they are putting in the detention centers, again, they're working people. There are nannies, the people are landscapers, are farm workers, the people that really serve the community. And number one, they are human beings, and they need to be treated like human beings. And these methods that ICE is using are just adding to the cruelty that they want to inflict on people. And these are our tax dollars, and we should demand of our Congress that they prevent them from having these kinds of electronic gloves that they want to have. We do not need these kinds of occupation forces in the United States of America. This is a democracy. This is not a fascist country. And we do not deserve this kind of treatment for the immigrants or anybody in our community, for anybody.
Dolores Huerta, and I know it's rude to sometimes reveal a woman's age, but I know you're proud of it. 96 years old, still very much
Yes.
An activist, showing up at event after event, speaking your mind, and a role model to so many people, especially in your community. Can you give us one si se puede to wrap things up?
Yes, and I want to thank everybody that has stood up to defend our immigrant community. We're very grateful, very grateful. And yes, if all of us working together, we could stop this madness. Yes, we can. Si se puede.
There we go. Dolores, thank you so much. Honored to have you on the show. People across
You're welcome.
Europe
Thank you.
were treated to a rare sight Wednesday as a total solar eclipse crossed over the continent for the first time in more than 2 decades. For a brief time, the moon aligned perfectly with the sun, sending parts of the planet into varying degrees of darkness. It's an experience that many people will never have, and all those who do will always remember.
You can see, I'm going to take these off, the light, as you say, it's completely different. It's a light unlike any other light I've seen, to be honest. It's not full darkness. It's sort of glowing slightly, and it feels kind of mysterious, which I think is appropriate because this is one of these extraordinary cosmic coincidences. People are cheering, the light is disappearing. You can see as it gets darker, people are just in absolute, wow. You can see the sun's coming back again, guys. The sun is coming back. And it is so beautiful.
A rare instance when Clarissa Ward gets to talk about something positive. The next total solar eclipse forecast for next August, with totality expected to last more than 6 minutes from Spain to the Middle East. British actor Nicholas Hoult is joining the cast of HBO Max's Harry Potter TV series. Hoult will play Professor Gilderoy Lockhart at the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry for the show's second season. The role was previously played by Kenneth Branagh in the 2002 film Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. The series features an all-new cast, and each season will tackle one of the books in the best-selling series by author J.K. Rowling. Season 1 is due out this Christmas. HBO Max is owned by CNN's parent company, Warner Brothers Discovery, at least for now. I'm Elex Michaelson. For our international viewers, World Sport is next. For our viewers in North America, I'll be right back with more. Thanks for watching.